Diaz. Mayor Christie Fraga.
Present.
Mayor, you have quorum.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Pinedo. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, agenda order of business. I don't believe there's any additions or deletions on this. Being none, all right, we'll move into public comments. I'm now opening the public comments portion of this meeting. I ask that anyone who would like to speak approach the podium. We will start with those who have filled out comment cards. Your name will be called. If you have not filled out a comment card, you can still speak. When I announce that the public comment is open for reasonable opportunity, please see the clerk after to make sure you fill out a comment card or register with her. You have 3 minutes to speak in a respectful manner to this council on anything that is on this agenda or germane to our city. So I will go ahead and start with Emilia Douglas, or I'm sorry, I think it says Douglas here. Delgado, sorry, Delgado. Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, good evening. I have been living here in Doral for 25 years and pretend to stay here. Thank you, Mayor, for everything that you did. But I have some concern lately because I want to know why GD of Doral don't join the Florida Department of Efficiency Dodge, or why that was included in the April 25 meeting. Also, it wasn't included in June 4 council meeting. And what Dodge came, to this country is to help us to be more efficiency. And we are talking now about the taxes. So I want to know when City of Doral is going to join voluntarily to go with Dodge. Because if we're going to have, everything move better, the efficiency with the money is one of the most important things for everybody here. Because everybody here is because the taxes. Is to see, how they are our representing and we trust you, put it the money. But the money have to be efficiency. No in like silly things, because now we have to be efficiency. All the government, all the world now want to be efficiency. So I want to know when us, as the city, going to join voluntarily to Dodge.
So just to clarify, we do not have a discussion during public comments. This is not a debate opportunity. We don't answer from here. So you can absolutely put all your comments on the record. The next person will come, and then we'll have either someone from staff or our staff address the situation, or maybe it'll be clarified during the council meeting.
So this open is not for give any, so why now I have to come here to talk if I'm not gonna have any answer to you guys? Because we vote for you, I vote for all of you, and you don't give me answer that is, concern everybody here, because the efficiency of the city is the most important thing.
So we have rules of decorum, and unfortunately, public comments is to put your comments on the record. We may answer it, but it's not going to be in this format. You have 3 minutes to speak. I would suggest you finish all your comments and then stay for the meeting so you can hear, and I'm sure your items will be addressed.
When I have gonna have the answer, or we are gonna have the answer.
I would stay and watch the meeting. I'm sure you're going to have all your answers during the meeting. I'm certain of that. So
please, you're gonna send me an email or something?
No. Stay for the meeting, and you're gonna have your answers during the meeting, but we cannot have a debate here, okay? Thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate it. The next person is Jose Dones.
Good evening, Mayor Fraga and council members. My name is Jose Dones, president of Doral for some years. I'm here. Also, my address is 3861 Alcantara Avenue. I'm here in favor of the rollback the city of Doral property tax millage to 1.5875 from the current and proposed property tax millage. The rollback property tax millage of 1.5875 has been proposed by the County Property Appraisal Office and is listed in my trim notice. My trim notice reflects paying less property taxes with the rollback than the proposed and current property tax millage, which in fact the city would have an increase in revenues. Homeowners, the rollback property tax millage of 1.578, important services such as public safety, parks and recreation, city services, and transportation, among others, will not be affected. City employees, I know, deserve good salaries and benefits, but please don't make over accommodations with any group with our tax money. Between property taxes, homeowners association fees, home insurance, I'm getting shafted. We are getting by all those expenses. It's time to roll back to 1.5875 property tax millage and give us at least some tax relief. As any budget, even a household budget, my house, it has goals, but also has waste. The proposed 2025-2026 Doral budget is not the exemption. If you all have concerns and want to prioritize fiscal responsibility, start with all the fat in all 17 city departments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Donis. Rachel Mazur?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Rachel Mazer from 7957 Northwest 54th Street. I wanted to thank you for having us tonight. I'm here also, like many other speakers, to ask you to please roll back the millage. Our property values have increased tremendously on paper, but our income has not. So our taxes have pretty much doubled in the last few years. Our property insurance is not affordable. We literally can't carry windstorm. So I'm begging you to please consider the people and the businesses that have supported Doral and support us by rolling back the millage to a rate that maintains your budget but doesn't kill us in the process. We'll be leaving after speaking, but we'll be tuning in remotely. Thank you for considering our ask.
Thank you very much. Tal Mazur? Mazer?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, my name is Tal Mazer. My company is The Place for Tile. I'm at 7957 Northwest 54th Street. My family business was established in 1979. A child of immigrants. My family moved here, opened a business by the Falls, and in 1992 bought our building. In Doral, we've seen everything. We've seen cows across the street change to a beautiful school. We are even given the honor to provide the stone for the lobby you see every single day when you come to work. But the burden of the taxes has become such that my status quo can't be maintained. I'm not a wealthy landowner or property owner. I can't raise rent on myself to match what is now, over the last decade, a 300% increase in my taxes. 2024, my taxes were $78,000. That is an employee that I can't afford to hire because I have to pay for the building. The building doesn't do anything different than it did in 1992, but it costs me much, much more every year. What we're asking is not for you to cut your budget. Rolling back the millage allows you to maintain your budget. It is not going to hurt Doral. But what's going to help is business owners like myself. I'm not, again, asking for you guys to do anything less. Doral is a beautiful city. You've done beautiful things with it. And my family's been here from the beginning to watch it happen. My parents handed down the business to me in 2001. I have 2 kids in college. I would love to hand down my business to my children in Doral. I do not want to have to shut my doors or move out of this beautiful city because I simply can't afford to stay in the building that I've owned for over 40 years. Thank you so much, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Melina Rodriguez de Torria.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm very glad to see you all as elected officials because most of you we supported, and obviously very glad that you're there right now. And you have made so many good decisions, and the city is a beautiful city with activities, with great infrastructure. So we have a great city, and obviously we want to keep it that way. I agree with the many people that have come forward here. That's another reason why I'm here. Basically, the same as they, to ask for lower taxes, a lower mileage rate. Basically, I think the main infrastructure of the city already has been built. So we don't really need other major expenses. I'm concerned about the 44,000 square feet facility, parking, pickleball, whatever, everything that's included, retail. What is the ROI, the return on investment on that? It's very important, very delicate, because we may be pouring millions of dollars into a facility that may not give us a return on investment, and we're better off not doing it. So that's something that we definitely want to follow up on and understand the council better. And then a couple of other things, minor things. The 25th Street, the markings are disappearing in some sections, and lighting is off at night in some sections. So there's needed repairs there. And it would be awesome to add trees to the exercise pathways in 25th Street and other areas of the city. Would be nice, and I think that's in the bonds too, that could be included. So basically, those are the concerns. And left-hand turns, I think I sent an email to the council about the left-hand turns. Especially when there's traffic, you'll notice it. It's actually dangerous, and we hope the police can do something about it. Thank you. I trust that you're going to make very good decisions about all of this, and especially the taxes. We need lower taxes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Luis Valdez.
Good evening. My name is Luis Valdez. I am a proud resident of the city of Doral. I am an attorney and a business owner, and I'm proud to say that both of those are located here in the city of Doral. I'm very proud of this city, and I want to thank you for all the great work you've done for our great city to really put us in the map. But I really want to stress, just like how others have mentioned before, to please give us some kind of property tax relief. We've seen increases in terms of special assessments with our HOAs. We've seen increases of insurance costs. We've seen other general cost of living expenses. And so I humbly ask that you please consider to not just keep our rates low, but to reduce them even further in a responsible manner where even if we need a little bit more extra revenue, you can still do that and even lower the millage rate just a little bit. I encourage you, it's a possible win-win solution in terms of lowering taxes, receiving revenues, and making everyone happy. And I encourage you to please take this opportunity to, and I know you cannot control every aspect of our lives and all the financial challenges that we're going through, but in this one aspect, with the property tax millage rate, to please consider lower rates for all of us so that we can keep our city affordable, we can keep our city accessible, and so we can continue to raise our families in this wonderful city. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Vicente Peñajamo.
Good evening, Vicente Peña with address at 4455 Northwest 102 Place. It's a pleasure to be able to be here for all of you again. The city of Doral is not known to be a 55 and over community by no doubt, but I'm sure there are many owners, residents, but mainly owners that are over the age of 55 and may depend on a fixed income to be able to remain living here in the city. Maybe it is time for the council, I'm not sure if this is, you have the purview, the authority to do it, but maybe it is time for the council to consider giving the senior citizens, the people over 65 like myself, a little break on their property taxes. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay. Sorry, just making a note. All right, anyone else would like to speak in public comments? I've exhausted the comment cards that have been filled out previously. Any other public comments? Now is your time. Okay, being none, public comments is now closed. Madam Clerk, would you please help us with the instructions for today's meeting?
Absolutely, Madam Mayor, and good evening, everybody. Today's budget hearing, the instructions are as follows. The first item on the agenda is an item on the consent agenda. Then following that, you will have two items. You would have the millage item and you would have the budget ordinance. It will be as follows. You would take the discussion on the millage rate, allow the administration to make the presentation, and then table that item. Then you will move on to the ordinance, allow the administration to make the presentation, discuss any budgetary changes, and then table the item. Then you will go back to the resolution, take from the table the resolution, discuss it, have a public hearing on the item, and then vote. Then you will go to the ordinance, take the ordinance from the table, discuss the budget, have a public hearing on the budget, and then vote.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions about the instructions? No? Okay, well, we hope you're safe for the rest of the meeting. We're gonna go ahead into our items, and I'm gonna go ahead and have the clerk read in item, actually, I'm sorry, we need a motion on the consent agenda. Forgot about the consent agenda. I need a motion on consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo, second by Councilwoman Reynoso. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we'll go into the actual public hearing items. Madam Clerk, please read into the record item 6A.
Item 6A, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, establishing and adopting a tentative millage rate and levy ad valorem taxes for fiscal year 25-26 in the amount of 1.7166 mils, which is 8.13% greater than the rollback rate, to balance the general fund for fiscal year 25-26, establishing the rollback rate to be 1.5875 mils, establishing and adopting the debt service millage rate for fiscal year 25-26 in the amount of 0.4810 mils for the general obligation bonds, parks and recreation projects, series 2019 and 2021, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open up public comments once again for this item. Public comments is now open. Anyone would like to speak on this item and this item alone? Please approach the podium. It's the village rate, 25-6323. It's what you all just already spoke about. 6A. Okay. Public comments is now closed. And now we will hear from the administration.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. At the July 30th, 2025 special council meeting, the City Council set a preliminary operating millage rate of 1.7166 mils, keeping the same millage rate as in the prior fiscal year 2024-2025, with a rollback rate of 1.5875. The debt service millage rate was also kept at 0.4810 for fiscal year 2025-2026. At this time, if there are no questions for staff, the administration is requesting a motion to table this item.
Okay, we need a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Motion to table, Councilman Pinedo, second by Councilwoman Reynoso. Madam Clerk, roll call on the motion to table.
Motion to table made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabral?
To table, yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
Yes.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so we've tabled the item. We're gonna take up the budget item so that we can have a discussion on that, and then we will bring back the item on the millage rate. Madam Clerk, please go ahead and read into the item 6B.
First reading, item 6B, please bear with me. Ordinance number 2025-36, adopting the budget for fiscal year 25-26. An ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, finalizing and adopting the budgets for the general fund, the transportation fund, the People's Transportation Plan Fund, the Park Impact Fee Fund, the Police Impact Fee Fund, the Development Services Technology Fee Fund, the Building Fund, the Public Arts Program Fund, the Debt Service Fund, the Capital Improvements Fund, the Capital Asset Reserve Fund, the Vehicle Replacement Fund, the Parks General Obligation Bond Series 2021 Capital Project Fund, the Stormwater Fund, the Other Post-Employment Benefits Fund, establishing the Capital Improvements Project Division, and retitling the Office of Charter Enforcement to the Office of Inspector General of the City of Doral for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, and ending September 30, 2026, as reviewed, modified, and approved by the City Council at the meetings held on September 3, 2025, and September 17, 2025. Authorizing the expenditure of funds appropriated in the budget, authorizing the levy and collection of taxes on real and personal property and other revenues necessary to meet the expenditures provided in the budget, specifying the methods by which grants and gifts are addressed in the budget, providing for transmittal by the city clerk, implementation, incorporation of recitals, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open up public comments on this item. Public comments is now open. This is our item on the actual budget. Any public comments? Being none, public comments is now closed, and we will hear from staff.
Once again, good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm pleased to present the City of Doral's updated proposed operating and capital budget for fiscal year 2025-2026, beginning October 1st of 2025 and ending September 30th, 2026. The proposed FY 25-26 budget is guided by and is consistent with the vision, mission, core, values, and goals and objectives of the City of Doral. The overall budget is prepared to meet the criteria of the Council's strategic priorities. It also reflects administration's commitment to sound financial and operational practices that realize our growing community's needs and expectations for exceptional services. The fiscal year 2026 updated proposed budget is presented here is based on the proposed millage rate of 1.7166 mils. This proposed budget remains a balanced budget with the use of reserves only for capital outlay and transfers out to capital improvement funds. On August 13, 2025, the City Council conducted a public workshop to discuss the proposed budget. The recommendations made at the workshop are included in the updated proposed budget and are as follows: a Doral Golden Heart Senior Grant Program, a Doral Emergency Hardship Grant for Families, and Doral Seeds Business Grant. Additionally, the proposed budget has been updated for changes in revenue projections and expenditures detailed in Exhibit A. As your city manager, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the members of the City Council for their continued guidance and support throughout the development of this proposed budget. At this time, I will turn the presentation over to Finance Director Solangel Perez.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members, Madam Clerk, City Manager, and City Attorney. Solangel Perez, Finance Director. The fiscal year 2026 updated proposed budget remains a balanced budget with the use of reserves only for capital outlay and transfers out to capital improvement funds. The budget is balanced with an in-use of fund balance in the amount of $18,970,368, which equals the total capital expenditures for fiscal year 2026. The total general fund proposed expenditures for fiscal year 2026 are $118,003,105. On August 13, 2025, City Council conducted a public workshop to discuss the proposed budget. As stated by the City Manager, the recommendations made at the workshop are included in the updated proposed budget, as well as changes in revenues, projections, and expenditures, and they're fully detailed in Exhibit A. At this time, I would like to share with you how these budget dollars are spent with a short presentation. In summary, for every dollar paid to the city in ad valorem taxes, as shown on this graph, 35 cents goes towards funding police, 14 cents goes towards parks, 7 cents towards public works, and 2 cents for planning and zoning, code compliance, and debt service respectively. 38 cents accounts for general government. This includes IT, finance, city attorney's office, mayor and council, city manager's office, city clerk, human resources, and public affairs. I thank you, and I welcome questions that you may have at this time regarding the budget.
Okay. Thank you, Sol. All right, so I just want to lay out a couple ground rules as we go into this now. I want to just say to all my colleagues that this is our time to have an open conversation, even though we've already had a budget. We want to be sure that we move forward in the best way possible. Let's be responsible with the information. Our residents deserve truth, not politics. Tonight we vote with numbers and pages and true transparency. If there are proposals for reoccurring operating cuts, now is the time to make them. So your final proposals. No, now is the time to have the conversation.
Motion to table.
Yeah. I think we need to have the conversation now because we're gonna then vote on the millage. We can't be having proposals for budget changes
We have
later.
to discuss the millage first.
No, we need to discuss the budget first. So right now, we need to do the presentation of the budget. So once we have our discussion on the budget, then we will vote to table. Then we will take up the millage, vote on the millage, and then vote on the budget. But if we don't have consensus on the budget, then we're gonna vote on a millage with possible changes to a budget, and then we'll have a millage that doesn't balance on the budget. So now is the time to have the conversation on the budget. So anybody who has proposals, and again, I think it's extremely important that we remember that we had a budget workshop. So we're not gonna have a repeat of last year. We're going to talk about making proposals with page numbers and citations of this budget. So if you're coming with actual operating cuts so that we can actually fund a rollback rate, I want to know it. I need cited numbers, not one-time cuts, because that does not fund a rollback rate. A rollback rate is in perpetuity. We lose funding forever. So it can't be one-time cuts. We cannot fund a rollback with one-time costs. It must be operating. So we are here to approve a balanced budget. We cannot approve a millage rate and then make changes to the budget because then we don't have a balanced budget. So we need to do that now. We need to talk about the budget now, make our proposals now, so that if there is consensus on something, they can figure it out. We do have a second reading, but now would be the time. When we take the vote up for the budget, the final vote for the budget, we should have already hashed out any changes that need to be made. Is that understood? So now we need to have the discussion on the budget. Anybody that would like to have discussions about the budget, but again, let's be responsible with the information we're putting out. This is not a place to play politics. We need to have discussion with numbers and cited pages. When we take up the budget item again, in the next time we hear it, which will be for the vote, we should not be making changes at that time. It should be taken up only for the vote. So, anybody would like to start?
I'll start.
Yes, okay, Vice Mayor Porras.
So just to clarify, we're not following the order that the clerk sent, right? We're not discussing the proposed millage rate resolution.
We will, after we have a discussion about the budget.
Right, so we're changing the order. I want to confirm. It says first we're discussing the millage, then the budget. So now we're discussing the budget before the millage. Is that correct?
We cannot have a conversation about the millage until we have an approved
for
budget.
clarification on whether we're switching the order that's on this paper.
The agenda.
Yes, we're not going to table the item right now.
Got it.
We will table it after our discussion.
Okay. Okay,
It's right here. Discuss budget and
Yes,
consensus.
it is. It's right here.
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't have this paper in front of me, but it is discuss budget, reach a consensus, and then table the tentative budget item. So I'm not changing the order. It is the exact instructions that we've always done it this way.
so the first one says, open a discussion on the proposed millage rate item. That's right above that. So we didn't have a discussion
We
on
didn't
that.
have a discussion on it. It was tabled, but we still have the opportunity to have a discussion on it after this because we're going to take it up.
Okay,
But we're not changing the order. We're basically just having the discussion now. We're not gonna have the discussion later because we have to have a consensus. We cannot vote for a millage rate responsibly without having a consensus on a budget. So that's what we're gonna do right now.
That's fine. Okay, so can I proceed?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank everyone that's here. I want to thank everyone that's emailed. I want to thank everyone that's spoken. Honestly, we wouldn't be where we are right now, having a real, open, transparent discussion if it hadn't been for you guys, making sure that we knew your opinions. And I know there's a lot of you that emailed. I mean, I really did get a lot of emails. I'm sure a lot of you emailed the rest of the council, but me personally, I got a lot of emails, messages from everyone that was in favor of lowering the millage rate. And I just want to make sure to reiterate what the mayor has said, which is to ensure that we have a very transparent discussion. Because during the last millage rate, I was not allowed to speak in a follow-up to comments that were made. So hopefully that doesn't happen today, and we are allowed the time to go through every single item, go through whatever concerns we have, and hopefully that happens today, and that we are respectful of that. And just to clarify on the record, during last year's budget meeting, the reason why we took so long, by the way, for those of you that didn't know, we were here until maybe like midnight last year working on this budget, and it's because our vice mayor then was on a trip for his son's graduation abroad. The entire council knew, and they still didn't allow him to participate virtually, even though he gave advance notice, and even though he was able and on the line, ready to participate. So if anyone's to blame for that delay, it's the council members that decided not to allow him to participate. So I'll start with that. Obviously, you guys all know that I'm in favor of rolling back the millage rate. I'm not gonna get into that a lot right now since we're gonna have a different discussion, but I just want to play a clip from the state CFO, which again, if you guys are receiving my emails, you are seeing exactly what I've said, and I've also shared these before, because I really think it's important to start with setting the background for why we need to really change the way that we're spending things, because eventually there will be a constitutional amendment on your ballot next year that's going to reduce, more than likely, the property taxes or maybe even eliminate them. So the city has to start making those reductions right now, and they have to start being responsible right now. So yes, this is something that's going to be on the ballot, and I want to play this for you.
Local government.
Okay, here we go.
When you bring up property taxes with local governments, I think you're starting to see a trend when you see spike in real estate prices, that government takes the extra tax revenue and they expand government. They're adding programs that probably shouldn't have been added in the first place. They're expanding programs that probably should not have been there in the first place. And in addition, one of the things that they're doing is they're giving out raises to a lot of people in local governments. And now there is a huge disparity between what local government employees are making as compared to just everyday people like you, the private sector. As the governor alluded to, I have been involved in cutting out waste, fraud, and abuse at the local level for decades. So when this opportunity arose, the governor said, hey, I think we should do this and make it a mainstay, something that the state will do every year, which is make sure that we go into the books and hold local governments accountable. Now, when it comes to waste, fraud, and abuse, I will tell you, it is my opinion, and I think we have the data to back this up, is that local governments seem to be far and away the worst when it comes to this spending. Just to give you an idea, general fund budgets, the budgets that are the portion of the local government's budgets that are funded by property taxes, Every single city or county have seen their budgets expand in between 60 to about 120%.
So that was just last week from the CFO, the Florida CFO. So I wanted to preface this budget discussion with that. And I really hope that I don't only have 5 minutes to speak.
Yes.
Because this is important.
Yeah, so we are using the 5-minute clock so that everybody has a chance to speak, and then you'll have another 5 minutes, but everybody should have an opportunity to speak so that we don't have a filibuster.
So I have 3 pages of going through the budget of where I think there's waste. It's not going to be done in 5 minutes. Now, if you are telling me that you're not allowing us to have a full, transparent discussion where I point out exactly, like you said, with citations and all, I don't think this is going to work. And you guys are not getting the real discussion because you deserve it. You don't deserve only 5 minutes of what I have to tell you. So I'll stop there. I'll let somebody else speak, and I hope that they do grant us more time because this is an important budget. And by the way, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the budget. You think I can talk about this in 5 minutes? No. So I'll stop there.
Well, I think that first we should definitely be honest and transparent from the beginning. We did have a budget workshop where there was no time limits and we had plenty of opportunity to talk about this book that we had, and that we had multiple meetings with the manager's office and with directors if we needed it. So full transparency and honesty to the public is that we had that opportunity already. We had the budget workshop. This is an opportunity to bring any clear-cut changes that you want so that staff can go back, implement them if possible, so that we can then adopt our millage rate and our budget. The opportunity to do this, what you're doing, was in the budget workshop. We had that opportunity.
That's not true? Nope.
It is, and
I
you're
can make
entitled
some
to your own
comments.
opinions, you're not entitled to your own facts. However, you do have another session of 5 minutes. You chose to play a video and these things, so I'm not saying you're not gonna have more time, but I think everybody has an opportunity to at least have their opening comments and put their things on the record, and then we can, talk about going back. However, the truth is, Councilwoman, Vice Mayor, I'm sorry, is that we did have a budget workshop where we all had the ability, untimed, to be here all afternoon if we needed to, and talk about what changes we wanted in the budget. So I will recognize anyone else that would like to speak at this time. Anyone else that has any comments, suggestions? We will have 2 rounds. Because we're not gonna have a repeat of last year, which you can blame whoever you wanna blame. The truth is, there was decisions that didn't wanna be made, and there was grandstanding, and because people weren't getting what they wanted, they didn't wanna vote. So we're not gonna have a repeat of that. This year, we will conduct efficient, transparent, professional meetings. That is my job. I'll make sure it gets done that way. So please, anyone else who would like to speak and bring items that are necessary for approving or not approving or making changes to this budget, now is your time.
If I may.
Councilwoman.
To all the residents, I already sent some information on things of how the budget is being presented and what are my thoughts and my calculation into each of the different items. For the past 2 years, I have voted no for the increase of the budget. And everything, you will see it. If you go, you will see everything there, how much it has increased the budget in the last 3 years. I really think that, as you have seen lately, the mayor has the votes. So it doesn't really matter, what is it that I said here. I can spend my 5 minutes repeating myself and everything. From almost everybody that is here, on my understanding, there's only 2 people that pay property taxes. I used to have 2 properties here in Doral. I've been living here for 18 years. So I've been paying for 17 years property taxes. So I have my taxes here, like everybody else that has received it. My understanding, you don't own a property. You don't own a property.
Excuse me.
And the vice mayor, even though she doesn't own a property, she's fighting to have the millage rate lower.
We all own properties here.
So by that understanding is that many people don't understand and feel what you feel when you receive this, like me. and like many of the residents that are homeowners and business owners too. So it's not just like other council members that are here that they have never owned a property that they say, oh, it's just $50. That's not how it works, because there's a formula, like I said, that all of you that pay property taxes will understand. So I understand that there are people sometimes they say, oh, Digna, you're almost done with your term. Yes, I only have 14 more months. And like the sixth president of the United States, John Quincy Adams, says, I'm going to keep fulfilling my duty, and the result is on God. So I'm going to try, and keep saying and showing, what is going on here. But unfortunately, it is what it is. When someone has the votes, it doesn't matter how much we shout here, nothing's gonna happen. So I want to be able to grant it the rest of my minutes to the vice mayor.
Okay, Councilwoman Cabral, first of all, let me just, we don't have a form of which you can yield your time to anyone else.
Okay, so then I'm gonna keep talking then. So I'm
Well,
going to exceed, I'm going to exceed, thank you. Thank you for clarification that then.
You're out of order at this time
No,
because
why? I still have my minutes. You said that I cannot grant it to her, so
Yes,
you
but
know
you
what?
need
I'm
to-
going to keep them talking.
Councilwoman,
So
please, I would ask that you please.
Okay, so let's
please
do that so I can
conduct
take my
professionally.
minutes.
I ask that you please conduct yourself professionally. You stopped talking, so I started talking. I will recognize you again to finish your time. The clerk has not finished the clock, so please calm yourself. We are absolutely willing to give you your time.
I am calm, trust me. The thing is that you come and interrupt me. I'm trying for her to give her the opportunity, even though I know
Actually,
I know
I
that we're
did not
going to
interrupt
go.
you.
I understand that we're going to go again, and she might have 5 minutes, but I was going to make
Councilwoman,
my
excuse
comments.
me, but you're not recognized at this time because you stopped speaking. I did not interrupt you. You stopped speaking. I was addressing you. I want to address something, and then I will give you back the floor. Excuse me. I will give you back the floor. However, you're being very disrespectful in your comments. First of all, you're not entitled to your own facts. You can have your own opinion, not your own facts. We all own property up here, every single one of us. Councilwoman Reynoso does, Councilwoman Pinedo does. We all own property up here. Even the manager has property in the city of Doral. So I think it's very rude and disrespectful for you to say that to your colleagues. However, I would please ask you to refrain from making derogatory comments towards your colleagues. I would ask that you continue to have a professional atmosphere and that you focus on the budget. If you really care about the city, you really care about the residents of Doral, focus on giving me real numbers. I'm here. Give them to me.
Listen, I'm not going
Cite
to waste
them.
my time on giving you what you say. I already have worked myself on it. And I have here the percentages of what have increased and how we can actually bring it down. I'm explaining to the residents that it doesn't matter whatever I say. You still have the votes. And it's going to pass like the last 2 years where we have a 45% increase and we only have a 22% of gain. That's just simple math. That's just mathematics. I mean, it's not algebra. It's not trigonometry. It's not. It's very simple. How much are we receiving from the taxpayers? The people that wake up every morning, leave their families, go to work. We're not here as a charity. You want to supplement on doing different programs and things like that. We are not a charity. What we are here is an administrator of the money that the people lend to us to be able to fulfill the real needs of the community. That's what we're here for. I mean, that's why we're elected, to be able to administer in the right way, transparent way of the taxpayers' money. We're not here to be doing all these different things that you want to do. I mean, I understand and I do. Oh, and I wanted to clarify that to Councilman Pinedo. I am one of the ones that really did many years back, before you even came here, to the police, where I was the one who gave that table so they can see within how many years they work here, how much they can be able to accomplish. And that was my idea that I brought it in. So I've been working, supporting the police always. I never will defund the police. I am not a Republican poser, to let you know. So like others that I know that they are. Also for the special needs, since I was 14 years, and I have 5 autistic uncles that I love them to death. And I've been volunteer since I'm 14. So I do understand the families that have autistic kids and everything that they have to work with. I also understand the seniors. But you know what will be more beneficial for seniors? Instead of just giving them handouts, it is to be able to be responsible and to bring down the millage rate. That, in the long term, will serve them better.
Thank you, Councilwoman. So again, I want to clarify something because I would ask that you please not be derogatory towards your colleagues. This is an important discussion and you're absolutely right. We should absolutely have a discussion about how we can save the taxpayers' money. So I ask you to please provide cited numbers and pages where we can cut operating expenses that would fund the rollback rate. Because in my opinion, our city does not have wasteful spending or unnecessary programming or fraud at all. So I would like to hear your proposal. I'm here to listen to your proposal with cited numbers saying that we've grown 45%. We have an 80-acre park that's online for the first time for a full year that's costing the city upwards of $9 million, a new expense that we have not had before in our budget. We've increased our police department. Yes, we've also increased programming in special needs and in our seniors. So if you would like to propose cuts to those things, please do it now. As a matter of fact, if you want to be such a good steward of taxpayer dollars and you don't want to be a charity, I'm happy to reduce the $5,000 you have in your budget to give to the charities of your choice. We can do that? Proposal number one. Proposal number one, defund,
defund my
council
accounts.
seat four.
That's fine.
Council seat four's sponsorship.
Okay,
money.
point of order. Are you using your 5 minutes, Mayor?
Yeah,
Th-
she
th-
is
Is this a
using it.
discussion? Because
She's
I
using it.
have a lot to say.
I am addressing
Yeah, she
the
is using it.
conversation that is being had about,
Yeah, she's using it.
about items that we should be discussing.
So we need to stay on track, and I'd like another opportunity to speak. So if we can move on.
Absolutely. When you're recognized, you will have the opportunity to speak,
Are
but
you
I'm not
using
going to
your 5
allow.
minutes?
I'm not going to allow.
See the clock running.
Councilwoman, you're not recognized. Please use the rules of decorum for
I'm
this
calling
body.
point of order. I'm not sure what you're
And I
doing.
just
I don't know if
addressed
you're
it.
responding, or I don't know if you're actually taking up your 5 minutes. Can we please, well, like you said, follow the rules? I don't know if you have more time than us. Do you have more time than us?
I am the chair of the meeting.
That doesn't mean you have more time.
I am the chair of the
That
meeting,
doesn't mean you
which
have more
means
time.
I do run the rules of the meeting and how it functions.
Well, I hope I
So
can get enough time
you
to explain
absolutely
to you,
will
the
have time
residents,
once again.
exactly what I have here in front of me. So if we can move forward, I can start doing that.
Councilwoman, I really don't want to have to get strong about using the rules of decorum and the Robert's Rules of Order. You will have additional time. I'm not taking that away from you. But I would ask that every one of your colleagues has an opportunity to present first. You already had your first intro. Councilwoman Cabral had hers. Would anybody else like to speak? However, I will address people and my colleagues that are being disrespectful and ask them to please use this time wisely. Let's use it wisely. Let's talk about what saves us money or what is going to get our city funded for proper use. Let's be good stewards, not only of our taxpayers' money, but time. Councilwoman Reynoso, do you have?
Through the mayor, thank you.
Yes, you're recognized.
During the last budget workshop, that's when I made my comments. I feel strongly about the work that has been done by our staff over the course of the last few months and agree with the final balanced budget that we are presenting today. Now, to address Councilwoman Cabral's comments. So to me, you must have a lot of time to be able to do research, which is your professional trait, to do research.
In science.
Clearly, it's not in government because you're, I'm speaking. Since you don't attend meetings, since you don't attend meetings, events, workshops, that's how you have the time to erroneously research the material that you brought forth today. It takes 2 seconds to go on the property appraisal's website, research our names, and look to see the properties that we own. So I suggest you take 20 seconds of your time now to clarify your comments, correct them, so you can give the right information to our residents. Because if you cannot give basic information as it is pertaining to where we live,
No, correct, and research information, then everything else, the rest of your logic is flawed. Which brings me to my second point. So why don't you stop being so misleading to the public and just be honest and tell them how you're trying to get pensions and the funding of pensions back into our budget?
You know that you have wasted more money on trying to fight this with attorneys than really
But you must be-
respect the
you must
order,
be re-
respect the order,
That must be to the
respect,
vice mayor
respect,
suing the city.
respect the order of the court. You understand that? That in many things you have wasted more money on that.
Who are you directing this to?
You understand that? That we have wasted more money on that than we respecting the court's order.
I'd like to clarify that as well, because now you're directing your comments at me. You're basically telling me that we're spending more money on defending.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. This is just about, like you said, the budget. I already said my comments. I'm not going to change my comments.
Okay.
My comments are there. They're public.
Great.
And
Which are wrong.
I just want us to finish with this because anyway, I know what is going to be the result. It's been 2 years, the same thing. So since you become mayor, the numbers there are the difference. You can see
Point of
how the
order.
numbers were before
Councilwoman.
and how the numbers
of
were
order.
after. But you know what?
Point of order.
In this, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna keep quiet because it doesn't matter what
That's
I said.
wise.
Anyway, what I'm going to be is just being accused by the inspector general, and that's it. That's what I know that I'm going to be doing.
Councilwoman.
So, I just gonna
Point
leave it
of
that
order.
way.
Again,
And I feel very sorry for the residents of the city of Doral and to myself because I am also a resident of the city.
Point of order.
Councilwoman, thank you very much. I would ask again that you please respect the rules of decorum on this dais and contain yourself. I know it's difficult, but I would ask that you contain yourself.
No.
Now, you just addressed,
I'm not.
Well, but
I
this
am
is-
actually like,
you're not
our
respecting
President
your
Ronald Reagan
colleagues.
said once, he said, keep smiling. That's what he said. So yeah, I keep smiling like our President Ronald Reagan said.
So you just asked a question about a lawsuit and the pensions. And I just want to clarify what you're saying because it's what Councilwoman Reynoso just said. You start with statements that are absolutely false, like we own no properties, something that is super verifiable immediately by a quick search. Everything you say after that is discredited because is everything else coming out of your mouth not true? That's number one. So I just want to clarify one more thing. You're saying that we are spending more money defending a long-term expense for our city that could bankrupt us, which, by the way, we haven't spent $1 because our insurance is covering it. So we shouldn't fight that, and we shouldn't be good stewards of taxpayer money. Got it. Just wanted to note that. Councilwoman Reynoso, please finish your comments.
Thank you so much. So, Councilwoman Cabral, I know that the level of your comprehension has been reached today, and it's really difficult for you to understand and work
And that
through
is
things.
not insulting. And that is not insulting.
This is what you have proven.
This is not
It's
insulting.
factual. It's
Really?
factual.
No, to the chair. Is that
Councilwoman-
insulting or not?
Councilwoman, you are the one that
I'm asking
engaged
you a
in
question.
insulting comments from day one.
Is that an insult or not?
Councilwoman Reynoso, let's focus on the budget.
Huh?
Let's focus on the budget.
Great.
Let's focus on the budget. I just asked Councilwoman Reynoso to please focus on the budget, but you have to understand that you're also engaging with very derogatory comments, and others do want to be able to defend themselves. So I would ask again, please, that we focus on the numbers. I can't wait to present mine. Let's focus on the numbers. Councilwoman Reynoso, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm done with my comments.
Thank you very much. Councilman Pinedo, have I told you you're my favorite?
Sure.
Okay. I love you too.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, because they do everything that you said.
Please.
Well,
grow up.
first
Again,
of all,
with the derogatory comments. Maybe we should bring an item to mute microphones.
thank you, Mayor. Well, first of all, I want to certainly apologize to the residents that are here because
Thank
you're witnessing a pretty nice show from some of my council members. So sorry about that. I mean, we're here. We're supposed to talk about what is important, which is the budget. And let me tell you something. I mean, I have been here for the past 3 years, but prior to this, as you know, I used to work here as well. This is a very transparent and well done budget by people that have the experience Because let me clarify this to you as well. None of us have the experience that this group sitting over here and the group sitting over here have. Starting with Mr. Fernando Casamayor, which is here. So, and to put it in a more simple terms, especially for you, when we speak about the millage rate and the rollback, reducing the millage rate, the budget, and all this, it is a fact that if we make a decision like that, we will be saving you just $50 a year. So whatever one of my colleagues wants to explain it or to say it, it is a fact. It's not because I want to say that number. It's not because we're playing with numbers. The person that can explain the numbers is sitting right here. So to have the fantasy and the idea that we're increasing taxes, that we don't care about the residents, that we don't care about business owners, is simple, a political game that part of the frustration that some of my colleagues have, they want to play that game. And unfortunately, politics doesn't work like that. Residents are very smart. It was proven last year during the election cycle. Whatever two of my colleagues here wanted to do last year, it didn't work out. Residents spoke clearly last year. And that's why we're making decisions. We're making decisions that are in favor of the residents. We're making decisions that are in pro of the business owners here in the city of Doral. And for you, you should be proud of the city that you're actually residing, the city that you live in. We have the lowest millage rate in Miami-Dade County. We have the lowest crime rate in Miami-Dade County right now. Feel proud of that. Embrace that. There's a reason behind that. And the reason is of the decisions that we make here and the decisions that we're about to make. When we talk about over $1 million in our budget for our seniors, for our special need programs, for the first time in Doral history, feel proud of that. We're talking about senior citizens. We're talking about special needs families. We have the #1 public park in Miami-Dade County right now, which is the Doral Central Park. Feel proud of that. We're not increasing taxes. Keep that in mind as well. If you hear something different, talk to us, talk to the professionals. We don't need to have a PhD in finance, right, Fernando? It's simple. That's how it works. The fact that we have more police presence out there is thanks to the budget that we approve. The fact that we're going to have more police officers out there means more safety for you, more safety for the business owners. The fact that we have more programs for our kids is thanks to the budget that you have here right now. Of course, I agree in not having property taxes. I hope the state, because we also have to understand, it's not up to the city, it's the state. County is not increasing taxes this year. Your property values went up this year by 8%. So keep that in mind, that we're here to make the right decisions for you guys.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank
You
you,
have
Mayor.
another opportunity.
Sure.
So I'm going to try and consolidate my ideas and my thoughts here, because there is things I want to touch on, but I also do want to give some clarifying points. First of all, there's a process for this. The process starts a long time ago. The process started in our strategic planning. Some members of the council could not attend. Most of us were there. Some of us were there part-time. That's where this process starts. And we have to come full circle, okay? Our budget is a reflection of the strategic planning session. What are ideas? What's the vision? What do we want to accomplish in the next year and in the next 5 years? Second, we do a budget workshop, which is where we have the opportunity to form, really truly put our input into the budget, besides all the meetings that we have with the administration, which I believe some of us took advantage of. So that's where we are today. So today, I want to come with numbers and facts and information. First of all, there was a question about Doge. We are participating in Doge. 100%. Doge has received the full package of our city. And everybody in front of you is shaking their heads because, and we can provide, you can actually public record request what we gave to Doge. A full, transparent turnover of all of our documents, everything they asked for checked off. As a matter of fact, if we didn't participate, we would have been fined for not participating. So it is not truthful that we did not participate. Now, some council members wanted to make it politics, brought forward an item, wanted to make this big show. We participated from the first letter they sent in March. We answered immediately. And then in July, we met the deadline and gave everything else. So if anybody has told you we've not participated in Doge, it's a full-on lie. We have 100% participated, and you can public record request it. As a matter of fact, I sent out an email blast, and I attached everything that we had sent with email confirmations from Doge saying they received everything. Number two, there was questions about senior exemptions. I think Mr. Hamill asked. When I was a councilwoman, I brought forward an item that exempts long-term seniors that live in our city from paying property taxes. You do not pay property taxes if you're living in our city long-term, meaning you've been here for more than 25 years. Your assessed value is a certain amount, and you are on a certain income. You have to be a senior homestead exemption qualifier. However, the problem is not with us. The problem is at the state. We absolutely need reform, and I promise you I will be at the state as much as possible this year fighting for that reform. We need a couple things. One, they need to increase the amount of the exemptions because our property values are going up, and the exemption amount has stayed the same. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there needs to be relief for seniors, bigger relief for veterans. There needs to be relief. So there needs to be senior reform, but there needs to be reform overall. Maybe there should be no tax on homesteaded properties. 100% that reform needs to happen, but it needs to happen at the state, not here. Because guess what? When we do a rollback rate here, and I think Mr. Dons, I think he was here, I may have left, who lives, oh, there you are, Mr. Dons, who lives in my community, in Costa del Sol, my assessed value, what I pay the city of Doral yearly is $206. That's what I pay the city of Doral yearly. Your home is probably assessed at the same amount that mine is. Your biggest amount is going to the county. So I may save you a small amount of money, which I would love to do, and I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that for you, but it's an inequitable tax reduction to roll back our rate and have to cut programs. So I want to talk about the programs that we would have to cut. And I wanted to address the Mazors that unfortunately had to leave and probably just got fed up with the arguing. Our business owners, we understand that you pay more in taxes, but the security and the opportunities that our city offers is above and beyond anybody else at the rate that we're offering it. You have an opportunity to challenge your assessed value. We're going to be holding, Councilwoman Reynoso is going to be holding an event with the Property Appraiser's Office to challenge your assessed values right here in our city. We want to help you fill out your applications. We want to make sure you're challenging your assessed values. Let's hold the county accountable to make sure that we really are paying the values we should be paying. But our city is the best city to live in because of the services that we offer, but those services cost money. Our police, our parks, the maintenance, our roads. Ms. Rodriguez de Toria, you talked about 25th Street. 100% have been fighting for 25th Street for 2 years. It is a county road, it's not ours. I've even offered that we put our money first and they reimburse us. It's not our road. I would love to fix it because I think it's in deplorable conditions. But we should be at the county fighting for that. And that's where I am, fighting at the county. But it's not ours. The lights on 25th Street, it's a special taxing district. I have been fighting for 2 years for those lights to be fixed. And I can show you every email. I was out there recently with the manager, with someone from the county, asking for that to be fixed. I'm gonna take my additional 5 minutes now. So I wanna answer every single one of you. You know, there was an email that went out that talked about why are we spending on a parking garage and retail? Let me tell you why. Because there will be reform on property taxes. If we lose our homesteaded property taxes, the city will lose about $6 million in income. We need to prepare for that. How do we prepare for that? We create revenue generating assets for the city so that we are not dependent on your taxes. We're not dependent on it, but we have to prepare for that because no one sitting here before has ever prepared for it. So it's our job to prepare for it. So if we make a decision to leave property that will generate revenue for this city, you don't have to pay property taxes anymore. And I promise you that we will continue to lower our millage rate as we've done in the past responsibly when we are prepared to manage an operating budget that can sustain itself in that manner. Right now, we can't. We have a park that is costing us a lot of money that we just don't know what the revenue will be. Next year may be the time that we can lower our millage rate like we've done in the past. Every 5 years, we've consistently lowered our millage rate. We just lowered the millage rate in 2022 for political reasons because the people up here who wanted to get reelected or wanted to get elected voted to lower the millage rate. And you know what happened? They froze 25 police positions. Our crime spiked. So we came in 2023, we made amendment to our budget, we funded those 20 positions, those 25 positions, so that we would have more police presence on our roads so there wouldn't be increase in crime. But that costs money. We were able to do it without increasing our millage, with keeping the same millage. We have new properties coming online, 41st Street and 107th Avenue, donde estaban la vaquita. That eventually is gonna come into our tax roll, but that's not reflected in this budget. So we have to do things responsibly. And I trust the people that elected us trust that we are doing things in the best interest. Now, we may not agree on everything. We may agree to disagree. I would love to be able to give a full tax cut, but it's inequitable because if we do a rollback rate, we are giving huge tax breaks to people to properties and business owners that pay a lot to give us the services that we need as a community, Mr. Donis, to give us the park that we have. So what did we propose this year? And here's where I'm gonna get into the numbers. We proposed 3 grants. One is an automatic grant to people who have the senior homestead exemption. Mr. Donis, do you have the senior homestead exemption on your home? You don't, because why? You don't qualify because of your income? Okay, so that's an issue we need to fix at the state, and I am 100% with you on that. You should qualify for the senior. It shouldn't be based on your income or your property value. So that's something we need to fix as a state. It's very unfortunate that people like that are not qualifying, but that's not on us. I can't give an exemption that the state doesn't allow me to give. What we did do was we provided an automatic $200 grant to people who are on senior homestead exemption so that you're not paying city property taxes. We're also creating a Doral hardship grant. The Doral hardship grant is for people, single mothers, people who have a loss in their family, a loss of wages, loss of job. We want to be able to help these people. We hear you, but we don't want our services to suffer. So I would like to see where my colleagues would like to provide real numbers. I heard that there was $470,000 in the mayor's office. If anyone can show me where our budget actually says that, I yield. It's not there. It doesn't exist. The amount of the employees that report to the mayor's office, but they are not my employees, they work for the entire council, their constituent services and Hispanic outreach, is 243,746, and that's total. That's 3 positions. Not 470,000. The increase in council that you've seen is because the voters voted to give council members a 300% increase in their salary. You got an email that we're spending $500,000 in remodeling my offices. That's not true. We're giving new offices to the council and making sure that we have distribution so our growth is manageable within City Hall so staff can work. You heard that the police department and the parking garage is being built with money that's, I don't know, coming from where, because it didn't even really say where. These are capital improvements that are made to make sure we have the police resources because they're right now in our Public Works building. Public Works needs their building back. And they're gonna go to a piece of land that was donated to us by the state. Like, these are the true facts, people. I had a budget workshop at the park. Mr., I forgot your name now, I'm so sorry. You were at the budget workshop. We had a budget workshop at Central Park where everyone was able to go and ask questions and be a part of this discussion. So there's a lot of misinformation that I think is extremely important that we really talk about and we get to the core of. Because the decisions that are being made in this budget are to be good stewards of taxpayer money. And it's unfortunate that some people are out there spreading a different message. Because that's where we end up with not good decisions. Because we cannot make decisions based on politics. We have to make decisions based on real numbers. So with that being said, I do have a proposal. I would like to ask the chief of police through the city manager's office, please, because I did receive at the last Cafecito with a Cop a complaint, not a complaint, a suggestion. I'm not gonna say complaint because he's a real supporter of police. A suggestion that our police department is not responding quick enough to traffic crashes. So road crashes, it takes sometimes 2 to 3 hours for a fender bender, blocking traffic. To me, that's unacceptable. If the chief could please come up to the podium, I would like to propose that we find a way to augment our police department with sworn officers so we can have a dedicated unit to have quicker response time without effectuating the budget, without affecting the budget. I don't want to see a change in our budget. I want it to stay the same, but I want to augment the department to focus on that because I think that that response time is unreasonable and creates more traffic in a city that has issues with traffic. So, Chief, if you could come and tell me that you can augment our sworn positions without changing our budget, and I know you can do it because you're a magician. Tell me how we can do it, because that's one of the things I do want to see between now and first and second reading.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council and City Manager and the entire team. It's quite difficult to be able to attain that goal without augmenting staff. It's a city that continues to grow. It's a city that has seen an increase in not only residents but business owners as well, and an increase in the amount of students in our schools, and the deployment of resources that we have really rely on the augment in terms of staffing that we've had recently. So, reducing our response times and reducing crime. And I always say, living in a safe city costs money. And we're grateful for the resources, but it's never enough. Even with the additional staff that we have and that we've been blessed with in the recent years and even into next year, we're grateful for the additional positions, but it's a conversation that the manager and I have all the time, and it's a back and forth tug of war, and I'm always asking for additional resources because we have certain crime prevention initiatives in our city that are very unique and no other city has in Miami-Dade County. For example, when you drive into our city, every single day you see marked police vehicles at multiple entry points in our city, basically learning the community that when you drive into the city, we have an established police presence and we have a zero tolerance stance toward crime. During rush hour time frames in the evening hours, again, we have police presence. We have fixed posts. We have a dedicated park response unit that solely works in the parks, the officers and supervisors that are dedicated to the safety and security of our park system, not only Doral Central Park, but other parks as well. We have multiple school resource officers in our schools on a daily basis. I mean, look at the traffic issues that can potentially exist in our city. Although it's never perfect, we have allocated a ton of resources, a full-fledged aggressive driving unit, which augments our traffic section already with our well-established motors unit that the last several months they've issued thousands of citations and hundreds of thousands of verbal warnings because the last citation is the last resort, but sometimes we have to get the message across. I mean, our aggressive driving unit last month issued over 1,200 citations. The month prior, over 2,000 citations. And that is never enough as well because the amount of complaints that I get on a daily basis with traffic issues is astronomical. So those numbers are high, but it's never enough because all it takes is one dead kid or one dead person in our city to really throw us in a whirlwind. So I know I'm speaking extensively based on the question you asked, but yeah, it's impossible to safeguard a city with limited resources.
Okay, I appreciate that, Chief. I want to challenge you. I challenge you to find positions that can augment our sworn police officers without impacting our budget. I think it's time to take a deep dive, and your budget is the largest one of all our city. It's 48 million. I can't think right off the top of my head right now, but a big percent, 40% of our budget. So I'm sure that there is somewhere where we can find to be more efficient in the dollars that we have allocated there to increase service in areas that are desperately needed, like in the traffic area, which is one of the biggest complaints we get. I know you can do it. I believe in you. So from here to second reading, I'd like to see where we can find a way to augment the sworn officers without impacting the budget. So we can meet from here to there. I did have this discussion with the city manager's office. She has some suggestions and in ways that we may be able to do it, and Mr. Casamayor. I didn't have a chance to talk to you directly, but I know that you can do it. If there's anyone that could get it done, I know it's you. So I appreciate
We'll
it.
look at, you got my word, I'll meet with the team, my command staff is over here. We will lift every rock and see internally our existing resources and see how we can reallocate it to sworn personnel to assist.
Okay, I appreciate that. Again, I during the budget workshop did take my time to provide my suggestions. I would love to hear from my colleagues with page numbers and real, true line item budget issues on operating expenses that we can cut. Again, I just want to close by saying that I understand everyone's concerns, and I give you my commitment that after reviewing a full year's budget with Doral Central Park Online and the staff we need there and the projects we have coming on board, we will revisit this issue again next year, as we must do. And if we can make a reduction to our property taxes, we also have to wait and see what happens with property reform. Because if we lower our millage rate, we are putting ourselves in a dangerous position should there be a huge reform to property taxes. Because if we lose 36% of our budget, we will have to increase or find other ways to fund these projects to keep our city afloat, because we will not be able to stay afloat without property taxes. There will need to be a full tax reform at the state, which, by the way, I've been advocating for years, to be able to keep some of the sales tax or the TDT tax, CDT taxes that our city generates. We generate about $20 million in taxes yearly from our business sector that we do not keep as a city. It goes to the state and to the county. We get none of that money. And so I've been advocating every year at the state since I've been mayor and before that to have cities keep that funding so that we can be more mindful with property taxes. And I think that, our city has been very responsible in lowering the millage rate as it's grown, as our tax base has grown. We've lowered the millage rate to lessen the burden on residents. And my commitment to you is we will keep doing that in a responsible manner. Doing it today is just playing politics with your city and with your services, because there is really nowhere in this budget that there is, let me be very clear, there is. We can cut $1 million in senior programming. We can cut $1 million in special needs programming. We can freeze police positions. Or we can defund the council offices. So if everybody is willing to give up their travel funds, their CBO grant funds, if we cut the CBO grant funds that we give now to to community-based organizations, our facade grants, we could, but then we are not striving to be the city we've become. We have been able to do all those things and still be responsible. But I just want to put it into perspective that lowering the millage rate while saving some residents anywhere between $50 to $300 to what comes to the city, because you're still going to pay a high amount to the county and to the school board, we're giving huge cuts to other properties that help us do the work that we do every day. So I'll wait to hear some more proposals. We'll do our next round, and hopefully this time we'll actually hear some numbers.
Yes. Okay. So I just want to clarify that the workshop was not the time we were supposed to discuss this. There were a lot of documents that I was still waiting on. I think the budget was given to us with less than 2 weeks before the workshop, and you can go back into the recording from the budget workshop and hear exactly that. that was not the time. This is the time. And obviously, you know, the mayor has proven that you need more than 5 minutes to really discuss your point. That's the first one. What I'm really hearing, and I want to start maybe looking at least one of the departments with the time that I have. So if we can pull up the mayor and council's office budget, please. IT can do that, right? I don't know that they have.
Not prepared for
We
today, but
don't,
we have
how
ours.
are we not prepared to show the residents the budget?
Well, Councilwoman, I'm going to call point of order at this time. It's, I think, unfair to ask staff without telling them the concerns you have. There were several meetings scheduled with the manager's office. I believe that if you would have brought concerns up before this meeting, they would have been more than prepared to be able to provide answers to your questions. Again, the budget was the opportunity to do exactly this, and I understand you weren't prepared for that. But I've been doing this here now 12 years.
Can you
and
stop
it's-
interrupting me? I
No,
want to
I
finish.
have the floor at this time.
No, I was speaking.
Yeah, but-
I was speaking, you interrupted me.
No,
So
I'm
what
clarifying that IT
I don't need
doesn't
your
have-
clarification. You just said that the staff is not prepared to pull up the budget. That's fine.
Councilwoman, excuse
I'm
me.
going
Okay.
to, can you
What-
stop interrupting me, please?
No, you're interrupting me at this point.
No, I
Yes.
had the floor. You just interjected without me allowing you to do that. Can you wait till the end?
Excuse me.
Okay, so
What-
if the staff,
You're not recognized
Are
at
you-
this time.
you stopped my are you seriously going to keep interfering with my
I'm
discussion?
asking you to be respectful. And
I'm asking you not to interrupt me.
I'm sorry, but you were.
I had
I'm
the
not
floor.
interrupting you.
Why are you interrupting when I had the floor?
Let me clarify something very quickly.
No, I had the floor. You are interrupting me. Is there a reason why you're interrupting me?
I'm going to go ahead and ask our city attorney, who serves as our parliamentarian when this happens, to please clarify that I'm addressing a question, and I have the floor at this time as the chair. I did call point of order, yes.
Calling a point of order, you are the chair of the meetings. You can clarify the question.
I didn't ask a question.
You can.
I said,
That's fine.
You
But
asked,
as-
you asked staff not prepared.
Yeah.
That was
so
the question.
the rules that govern your actions do state that the mayor can regulate debate. So at this point, if she's regulating debate and she's interrupting.
Right.
So
make a
you're going
point,
to
she
keep
can do that.
interrupting me through my time, is what you're saying.
Vice Mayor, I know you would love to get an answer to that. I'm not interrupting you. I
You
would
are
ask you to please
interrupting
be
me.
respectful.
Excuse me, you're interrupting me. You had 15, 20 minutes to speak. You're giving me another 5. I'm asking you to not interrupt me. I'm going to lose my train of thought. That is the reason why
Not
you
go-
should
you're-
not interrupt.
you're
And this is,
not-
I'm not doing or saying anything disrespectful. So if you can please allow me to continue
I will as soon as I am done. Yes.
as soon as you're
As
done
soon as I'm
with.
done. Making a clarification because you asked a question, and I do want to point this out. I understand that it's hard for you to follow the rules, but these are the rules of the meeting. I am the chair, and if you don't like that, you can run for mayor. I am the chair, and I will conduct the meeting. You asked a question, I was clarifying because it's unfair to put staff in that position. I will allow you to go ahead and finish your comment. You are absolutely entitled, and you can ask every question you want. However, it is unfair to ask staff at this point without first telling them what questions you're gonna have concerns. It's actually unfair for all of us. However, I do have the budget here, and if we can give everybody an opportunity, I think everybody has their budget in front of them. We can pull up what you're asking for, but I don't know that IT is prepared. I just wanted to ask, is IT prepared to pull up the budgets?
IT can pull up, double click on the line item budget that is attached to the agenda.
Is it this one?
Yes.
Okay.
All of the summaries are there, not the accounts that you have in your binders, but the summary of each department and
Okay,
each
perfect.
fund.
So it did exist, and IT can do it. Please, let's pull it up. Thank you. Thank you. So while IT is pulling it up, this is what I'm going to tell you. And I made it very clear in the email that I sent. You're hearing 2 versions of where we need to cut funding to keep the same taxes as last year. Because if we keep the same millage rate, your taxes are going up. So yeah, it's an increase. Despite whatever they want to say, it is an increase because your property values have gone up. It's not that hard to understand. And so that increase is going to generate an additional $2.6 million for the city. The city did not have that money. That's your money. That's the taxpayers' money. And even though they did not have that additional $2.6 million, they were already planning on how to use it. And that's what I'm going to show you now. So one of the versions that I'm hearing right now of how we have to maintain the same millage rate, because that additional $2.6 million that you guys haven't paid for, that we are going to start using, is the majority wants to cut essential services. I don't. There's no need to cut police. There's no need to cut senior programming. There's no need to cut any essential services, public works, et cetera. I'm strictly focusing on the additional spending that is being done, which is within the mayor's office. I'm gonna start with that office right now, and I'm gonna show you numbers, okay, so that you guys can see it. And that is just a sample, because clearly I'm not allowed the time to go through the other departments, which, by the way, are Mayor and Council Office, City Manager's Office, Public Affairs, Sponsorships, and the Legal Office.
No, please, go ahead
So
and do
those are not
We're gonna give you all the time.
mostly essential services, okay? So as soon as we have the Mayor and Council budget up, let me know.
I think you can start without it going up. We all have it in front of us.
The residents need to see it, Mayor, so I understand that you don't
And it
want
is
residents
attached.
to look at it. Okay, there we go.
It is attached to the agenda.
Can
so-
you please stop interrupting? Please, I get it. Stop interrupting. Okay, so this is not the budget, by the way. This is the budget with all of the. Can we scroll to the bottom? Does the full page fit? Okay, perfect. So let's start with the first thing that the mayor and the council really like to harp on. The first increase is to the salaries of the council members. That is literally the only budget increase that the residents have approved, by the way. This was on your ballot last year. You approved closing the 75% pay disparity between the mayor's salary and the council's salary. Whereas the mayor was making $80,000, council members were making $18,000. So you approved closing that gap. That was you, residents. You consented to this. That's probably the only thing you've ever consented to right now.
How much was that?
Okay.
How much did that increase the budget?
Excuse me,
No,
you
but I
don't get
have
to ask
questions, 'cause
questions.
now we're talking about
No,
money.
we're not having a back and forth discussion.
How convenient.
And also that amendment was to cap the salaries. Therefore, our salaries are not going up. If the 3 council members or members of the council have a problem with that, they can always relinquish their salaries. By the way, they talk about how they didn't vote for it, they don't like it, but they're not willing to give it up. In fact, I proposed earlier this year or last year eliminating the council stipend of $30,000 each year. That item was, of course, deferred, brought back to make it voluntary. They have not given up their additional $30,000 a year.
Did you give it up?
So I can answer your questions after, if you don't mind. Okay? So again, those budget increases were approved. Now, what did the residents not approve? What wasn't included in last year's budget that is included now in the mayor's budget? 3 new assistants and a police officer that was plucked from patrol, who's very good, by the way, and assigned as a personal security / driver for the mayor. And yes, you're not gonna see that in the mayor's budget because it's paid by police, but it is assigned strictly to the mayor. And you know, it's something that when it was first proposed, I asked if, and you can again go back to the recording, I asked, is this going to be someone that's going to be for the entire council? Because we've had security. Each of us has had security last year. We don't have it anymore. I don't see it, at least. They said yes, and it turned out that this person was not going to be working for the entire council. Now, how much were these positions totaling? So you have those just four extra salaries, which by the way, again, were not part of last year's budget, but since there's an increase in taxes, they saw that money coming in and they really wanted to spend it.
It's right here.
Nope, here we go. So, in the item that I requested to be itemized by council office, including separating the mayor's office and the council member's office, funny enough, they didn't want to put the 3 new assistants under the mayor. I mean, I would be ashamed too to say that as mayor, I gave myself 3 assistants, and so that's why they didn't do it. But let's be honest, the 3 new assistants that the mayor has, those 3 work directly under the mayor. All their logo says Office of the Mayor. They report to the mayor's chief of staff. And there's a reason why we don't share staff between the council members. We have sunshine laws. We should not be sharing information. And that's why we each have our own chief of staff / legislative analyst. And do not get this confused. My chief of staff, who's back there, Sarid Castro, he's the only one that does constituent services for my office. So now you want to pretend that these 3 new assistants are part of the entire council because you're ashamed of having added those 3 positions to your budget. And in total, not just the salaries, but also the additional request of transportation, traveling, additional insurance benefits, all of that totals to over $450,000. It does. And if you want, we can have actually the finance director come up, tell us exactly how much it is. If you can please come up.
Excuse me, Vice Mayor. If you would like to call up staff, could you please do it through the manager?
Sure. Yes, manager, I apologize. Can we call the finance director?
Yes, I have the sheet that you have in front of you here.
Yes.
I can answer your questions.
Okay, thank you. So, city manager, this is the new sheet that you gave us, right?
Ma'am.
Okay, so the last column says other council staff. That is solely the 3 new assistants, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's the Hispanic Outreach Coordinator, the Constituent Services Coordinator, and the Communication and Protocol Coordinator.
Yes, and what is the total there?
$321,335.33.
Thank you. And what is the salary for the police officer, sergeant at arms?
I have to look that up in the police budget.
I can tell you because I looked it up. It's $104,000.
Okay.
And that does not include the benefits, life insurance, et cetera. So again, I don't have those exact numbers, but if you add up the 321 plus the 104, that gives you $425,000. Again, not including the benefits. If you want to stand here or sit here and say that those are not your staff members, then I think you're ashamed of having brought them in as your staff members. You should own it. This should be very transparent. So again,
I don't
that's
want to
just one
interrupt
example.
you, but you're going to be at 10 minutes speaking, so we're going to stop you at 10 minutes, which is the additional 5.
Sure, that's no
and then,
problem.
And then I'm going to respond to these.
No problem. So I'm gonna get through as much as possible, but this is just one part of me showing you where that additional money that hasn't come in yet is being spent and why. And you know, I played the video of the CFO because he was right. We keep increasing staff programs that we don't need and we shouldn't have. And that is where the reductions need to come from, not for essential services. Am I cut off now?
Yes.
Or can I keep going?
No, you're cut off.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and discuss some of these things. So number one, you're making accusations about the mayor and council budget. First, I wanna be very clear that the mayor and council's budget for salaries went up, and it's not the mayor, it was the council salaries that went up from $158,000, which was in 2024, 2025 to 2025, 2026, which is the current budget we're approving, to $306,000. That's a $148,000 increase, which was based on a voter-approved mandate. However, saying that there was a disparity between the mayor's salary and the council salary, we have a stipend. So I think we have to be fully transparent. There's a stipend of $30,000. You're correct. You brought back an item, and we voted to voluntarily give up the stipend if we wanted. Did you give up your stipend?
You know, I'm actually using that salary to pay staff. I'm not actually using taxpayer money to pay for 3 additional assistants.
So you didn't give up your stipend?
Did you give it up?
I didn't, but I didn't propose it.
Okay,
And by the way,
thank
I
you.
didn't get an increase in my salary. Only council members did. The mayor did not get an increase in salary. So did you give it up? I think a yes or no is.
You're still making a lot more, which is fine, because you're the mayor. You have additional responsibilities.
Oh, bingo.
Not privileges, additional responsibilities, and you should. I've never said you shouldn't.
Okay, excuse me. I think you're
uh,
interrupting me at
reducing
this
the
point.
gap.
It was
Okay.
a simple
Well,
yes or
you know,
no.
I was answering your question, but okay.
It was a simple yes or no. You did not give up your stipend. Understood. Okay. Now, you talk about 3 positions. You just said very clearly the mayor's office has additional responsibilities. My chief of staff was making the same thing your chief of staff was making, and I barely even saw them here. So, as a matter of fact, when you came in, months into us being here, you increased every single chief of staff. You changed the title from legislative analyst to chief of staff and gave every council member, forced every council member to give an increase to their chief of staffs, inflating their salaries from what it was at about $70,000 to $100,000. You forced that on us. You forced it.
Do you want me to respond?
No, this is facts. So we want to go back. We're going to see it. So you forced that on us. And I was the one that said we should not force this on our council members. Council members should be able to decide what each of their people want to make. Now, I want to confirm, I want to also say that the positions under the mayor's office, and it's for purposes of reporting to someone. They report to the chief of staff of the mayor, because the mayor is the only one that has a chief of staff. You all have legislative analysts, okay? Again, the job descriptions of these people, yes, they report to my office, 100%. As the mayor, they should report to the office. But their job description does provide for them to work for every single one of us. And I believe you do forward many of your emails to constituent services, and she handles them. So, and maybe you can public record request that. Please, someone public record request it. You have forwarded many of your emails to the constituent services. That's number one. Number 2, these salaries you're talking about, communications coordinator for my office, because I am the official spokesperson of the city. I have a communications coordinator. You voted for that position in 2023. So that was not added last year. That position already existed. Constituent services existed, but it existed under public affairs. We moved it under the mayor. So these positions already existed. The only real position that was created was Hispanic Outreach Coordinator. And it's a $56,000 position. And she's here every single day, working and answering residents. I wish I could say the same for some of your assistants. So I understand what you're trying to say, and it's your opinion, and I respect that. But these are services that are being given to the community, and you're entitled to your opinion. So thank you for that. But I think that it's really important to be transparent. I would like to address our expenses going up. That we're spending money before we got it. That's not true. That's not true at all. We were planning for a park to go online. I'd like to ask, if through the city manager, if Mr. Casamayor, or manager, you can answer this, how much our insurance premium for the city of Doral went up due to our park being online?
Over $2 million.
Over $2 million
Central Park.
just in liability insurance and property insurance, correct?
Yes.
Okay, how much would our rollback rate reduce the revenue for the city?
$2.6 million.
All right. So that's number 1. I think it's very important that we really focus on these long-term. Yes, you're absolutely right. There is increases to services that we've added, just like we've increased our special needs programming. We never had an adult day training program. We now have an adult day training program. How much are we spending on our adult day training program? Can someone please address that?
Mayor, I don't have that number. Give me 1 second.
I believe it's about 300,000 and change. If you don't have it, it's fine. We can, if you don't have the exact amount.
I do not have the number in front of me, but from what I'm recalling is a little under 500,000.
In total, we're subsidizing a certain amount of it, correct? Or we're subsidizing the full amount?
That's in total.
In total, okay. I have another question. Our insurance premium on health insurance, how much did that increase? 3.7. Do we have a figure, a dollar figure?
We can get it.
Okay, so so our health insurance to employees increased,
3.7%.
or is the city assuming that? Or
Right. The city is covering the increase. The increase is not being passed to the employees.
how much is our COLA this year?
It is 5%.
For those who don't know, a COLA is a cost of living adjustment. Can you please give us some background on why we are proposing a 5% cost of living adjustment this year, and what we anticipate will be a proposed COLA for next year?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Fernando Casamayor, Assistant City Manager and CFO. So we were proposing a 5% COLA for our employees, for our non-sworn employees, our general employees. And it is a step 2 of a catch-up that we started last year because our salaries were and continue to be below the cities and county that we compete with for the same pool of employees. That means employees that we're trying to hire or employees that we're trying to retain. We have lost employees to the county, to Miami Beach, to Coral Gables, and to City of Miami over the last 2 years, and we're trying to at least get into that range where those are the cities that we're competing with for employees and staff. This 5% COLA would kind of get us exactly to where that is. A cost of living raises minimum salaries and maximum salaries by the percentage, and that should get us into the sweet spot that we're looking for. Historically, I believe prior to last year, I think the COLA was a 3%, and prior to that, I believe it was 2% and 2% respectively.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Casamayor. I really appreciate it. Okay. So I just wanted to address those things. If you would like to quickly go over some of the other proposed cuts, because what I'd like to do is, or if you have a total amount from all the cuts that you're offering, I'd like to know what that total amount of everything that you're proposing should be cut is.
Sure. Do I have the floor again?
Yes.
Okay, so first I want to address what you said about the increasing the chief of staff salaries. I know that you have mentioned that I voted to increase my own chief of staff salary. I did not. In fact, my chief of staff back then was making the highest salary, had the highest salary, and the other chief of staffs were much lower. They had about a $15,000, $20,000 gap. And yeah, I wanted to make it equitable. So I proposed putting them all at the same level because they all do the same work, or they're supposed to do all the same work. And anyone that knows me and my office knows that I have a very responsive and efficient office. And I have a really, really great chief of staff. So thank you, Seti, for all the great work that you've done. And after that proposal went through, I got chief of staffs from other council members thanking me, by the way. So I don't appreciate the lie about me raising my own chief of staff salary because they already had the highest. And I'm really not ashamed to admit it because it's the truth. I helped the other chief of staffs get the proper and justified salary that they needed. Now, as far as which items I think in the budget, I don't think belong in the budget, which again, I just mentioned one. We have over $450,000 in your budget, Mayor. That's one. We have a very inflated public affairs office. And I understand that we just added back economic development, but this has been a department that has been given so much money that does not serve the entire council. And in fact, this year, they've cut work with the council. They've cut our 4th of July videos, our back to school videos, and I want to know whose decision it was to do that. Because right now, the purpose of that department right now is just solely to work and do things for the mayor. So if the city manager can respond as to why those videos were cut this year, you can answer, just be honest.
Vice Mayor, as we responded when you requested your item, the Economic Development Office was a separate line item that was added to the Public Affairs budget. When you compute that number and you take it out, the only increase to the Public Affairs budget is right under 10%, which represents the 5% COLA and the 5% in merit that we have proposed for next year. There is no increase to the Public Affairs budget.
What is the total budget for public affairs, including economic development?
I'm so sorry. Public Affairs totals $1,823,535.
Okay, so if you can stay there, if you don't mind. So we have a department with almost $2 million of doing what? Working, again, as a vanity project for the mayor. They have removed the work with us, with the rest of the council. And again, city manager, can you respond as to whose decision it was to not do the council members' video for 4th of July and for back to school?
I can answer that because it's unfair to ask the manager that because she wasn't here
That's her
before.
department.
This council.
decision.
No. This council gave my office the authority to work with public affairs to restructure our marketing plan. And it's unfair to ask her that because in previous years, and if Maggie's here, she can come up. In previous years, council members never did videos for 4th of July until last year that you requested for it to be done and it got changed. But that had never been done. We went back to the normal practices that this city always had where the mayor, per the charter, is the spokesperson. Also, there was no cuts to the back to school message. We restructured the way it was done. If you notice, I didn't even do one. I did one with the school board member and the chief of police to talk about traffic and safety. So these little project promotional videos that were being done before that you requested were cut. Because what you wanted from public affairs was these personal promotional videos to be done. So what you're accusing me of is exactly what you tried to do the year before. And what I did was take it back to its original intention and what has always been the common practice in this city since 2003. So again, the manager answered your question. There has been no increase to public affairs other than economic development was moved back under public affairs. And the change, the 10% increase, is the COLA and the changes to the fringe benefits, correct? Okay, let's move on to the next one because that obviously wasn't a cut.
You're misstating things. So how many years has the council done Christmas videos? Can anyone answer that?
But we haven't even gotten to Christmas.
The point is that you're saying that I came up with these? These were videos that were being done before I came to the council. It's ridiculous that you're putting that on me. Okay, well, if we get an answer, you will get an answer.
I'm telling you because I was here.
Okay, how many years has the council done a back to school and a Christmas video?
That is, first of all.
Do you have an answer?
I don't have an answer of how many years it was being done.
It was before me.
It was being done, but last year,
Point of order.
you asked for 4th of July.
It was before me.
And last year, you asked for that to be changed. So again,
For 4th of July. Okay,
you're being selective.
I'll give you 4th of July.
Okay, there's a point of order.
Let's
You're
go
being
back
selective,
to Christmas.
There's a
That's
4th
right.
of July.
Because you don't want to answer. That's fine.
I think what needs to happen is that we need to get back to line items.
Right.
And
Thank you.
Well, if you guys
I'm sorry,
stop
and
saying
material
lies,
that
I
and
think that we
material that
could
is
move
more
this along
fruitful
forward.
than debating a Christmas or 4th of July video when we're here talking about services that may or may not be cut.
Thank you.
Please.
if you stop misstating things, then we wouldn't have to clarify.
Note.
Again, I was trying to clarify.
No.
But we can continue. Listen, every time you say a lie, I'm gonna rebut it.
But
Sorry.
it's the same,
You-
it goes both ways.
That's
It goes
fine.
both ways.
And I'm
And
okay with
again, you're
that.
entitled to your opinions, not to your own facts.
I'm fine with
So
that.
please, if you could give us another amount.
again,
I'm trying to
that-
get to the rollback
that
amount.
is-
$2.6 million. If you
That
can
i-
give me cuts
that is-
up to $2.6 million,
Do you
I'm
want to
willing
hear
to
the
listen to
cuts, or
it.
do you want to repeat what you keep saying? Because I get it.
What's the next
Okay?
one?
So the garage this is an important one because we're talking about building a garage and a new facility for police, right? I've never been against or have even said I'm against building a new police headquarters. So, city manager, what is the total to build the police headquarters and the garage at Central Park? Or not to build, I'm sorry, this is only for engineering, right?
Vice Mayor, the way that these processes are done is that you start with a conceptual, because it is the only way for us to be able to get estimates on what we're doing. Right now, the council's approved both to do conceptuals for the police building and for the garage.
And how much is that?
Those two items were approved. I believe once was the police building was 300 and something thousand, and the garage was under 100.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
The conceptuals. It's something that you've approved in previous agendas, because those are going on right now.
Can you repeat that? Where does the 14 million come from?
No, it's not the $14 million. No, that is what is proposed for next year. Right now, we are
exactly,
doing
yes.
conceptual drawings.
Yes.
We will finish that process hopefully sometime before the end of the year, at which point we will have estimates and we will have an idea of whether, and there will be a recommendation from staff to council about how to move forward, whether we feel that it is feasible to do both those projects. We have budgeted for design fees in order to be able to have that in place should the council choose to move forward with those two projects. That doesn't mean that that's going to be expended. That depends on what staff is going to answer or propose to you all once the conceptuals are done. But you've already approved the conceptuals, and those are ongoing right now. One with Santec and the other one with Kimley Horn.
Yes, so I'm referring to what's allocated in the budget.
Yes, that is an estimate,
How much
which
is that estimate, please?
You have it?
Yes. So currently in the budget, the transfer outs to the capital improvement fund are broken down as follows. The government annual improvements total $1,276,000. The PD headquarters is proposed at 8.1 million. And the DCP parking garage, 5,150,000.
Okay, thank you. So those were the two that I was referring to. We have in the budget about $14 million for a police headquarters, which I'm okay with. I never brought that up, wasn't in any of my emails. Please show me. Show me. The garage was absolutely in my email. And that is why I'm asking, why do we have to plan for so much funding for a parking garage when we can't even fund the same budget that we had last year? So, go ahead.
Okay, Vice Mayor. So, as I stated before, we're doing a conceptual of that. The conceptual process is for us to be able to get estimates on what it would cost to build the parking garage. The idea of having the parking garage is because there was originally a parking garage discussed when the bond was being put together back in 2018, and that fell out of when they value engineered the project or through a decision of the council that was here at the time. And we are in need of additional parking there. We are also doing that as a way to be able to establish alternative sources of income for the city. We are going to do that in order to be able to have parking revenue when we have concerts, when we have special events, and throughout the day, throughout our activities that we're going to plan, and is in order to be able to decrease the city's reliance on property taxes, which is a strategic goal, which you all gave me when we did strategic planning this year.
Yep, and I really did like the idea, had I known that we actually had funding for it, because it sounds like we cannot find $2.6 million to cut to allow property relief to the homeowners here. So just so I can clarify, I was very in support of it. I didn't know that this was going to force us to increase taxes, which is exactly what keeping the millage rate is doing.
Okay, your time is up at this point. Yes,
one
absolutely.
second.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Vice Mayor, we are taking that money and we are using fund balance to plan for that budgeting money. Again, the money's not been expended. The council has not made a decision to move forward with the project and won't do so until the conceptual is over. We do need to budget for it, and we have done that out of fund balance, not out of what would be affected by the rollback rate.
Right, I want to clarify this. That cost is a one-time capital improvement. It's coming from our reserve, let's call it, right? I hate using the word reserve because everybody thinks it's a savings account. It's not. It's the fund balance. It is not part of what we fund our general operating fund, our general operating, everyday operating expenses to provide services. So even if we were to say right now, let's cut that, we still haven't met the 2.6 million that we need for the rollback rate. I want to be very clear on that. So great theatrics. It's not the money that we need to give you the rollback rate because it doesn't affect it if we cut it. This is a one-time cost. It's not an reoccurring operating expense. And additionally, the reason why we have focused on making it a priority is because in the future, it's going to generate the revenue we need to be able to lower property taxes. Because the idea is to charge for parking when we have concerts at the amphitheater. It's going to create revenue to decrease the $9 million that Central Park is costing us. And I understand that some don't understand how business works, but you have to have a business mindset in these smaller governments to create new revenue structures. That's our priority. That's what we are doing. That's why we intend to create a retail space that we can rent out. Like other municipalities, our manager comes from City of Coral Gables that has many revenue generating assets, and they still have a big budget, but they have revenue generating assets that relieves some of that. They would have a larger tax or millage rate if they didn't have some of those. So I understand that it's a new concept for you to get, but it is something that will, in the future, leave future mayors and council members in a better position to lower or not depend on property taxes. So again, you still have provided no proposal that would meet the need of cutting $2.6 million in operational funds. Anybody else would like to talk, if not, or speak or provide a proposal? Otherwise, I'd like to entertain a motion to table.
I would like to just make one more comment.
Yes, Councilwoman Reynoso.
Thank you. So I want to just point out 1 second how Councilmember Pinedo so eloquently spoke about all the different things that we're able to do and focus on this budget that we weren't able to do in other years. And I think that was a very important point. And I love the way that he brought that out to light in the middle of all the discussions that we were having. There was something that Vice Mayor said, and she said that there was only one thing within this budget that the residents approved of. And the residents approved all of us sitting here. The residents elected us. And part of our job as elected officials is to be the voice of our community, of our neighbors. And that's what we do. And that's not a responsibility that I take lightly. I
research, I take the time that I need to study and understand the different things that we do in government. And I do that with transparency. I do that being fiscally responsible. I do that having meetings with people that know more than me, which is our staff. And I have to say that I don't like the way that this meeting has been conducted today because I feel that we have lost focus of what's important here. And that again is representing our residents, providing programs, providing jobs, keeping jobs, having a safe city, having a city that we can all be proud of. And I think through the course of the years that our city has developed, we're blessed to say that we're able to have the discussion that we're having now. Now, disagreeing does not mean mismanagement. And I think that's a point that we really need to clarify. We can agree to disagree. And everything that is being discussed here can be referenced in the proposed budget and links online. You can contact staff, you can contact the city manager's office, you can contact our offices. And these points that are discussed today can be referenced and found in a factual way. It's not subjective, it's very objective what is happening here today. So I just want to kind of reset or kind of end more, not reset because nobody wants to go through this again. I want to end by saying that to the residents, especially the ones that are here today, this is not a job that we take lightly. This is a job that we fully and wholeheartedly do for the betterment of our community. So with that, I end my comments, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. All right, any other comments? Yes, Councilman Pinedo, and then we're gonna entertain the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to recap of what I mentioned before, especially to the residents once again. Again, we're not raising taxes. It's very responsible to keep saying that, especially to the residents. And after everything that you heard tonight, I mean, it's if. And by the way, as Councilwoman Reynoso mentioned, the same time I took this very seriously. I'm the executive director of an organization. I manage a budget as well. I manage staff as well on a daily basis. So I do go over the numbers. And when I recognize the staff, it's because they spend hours analyzing what is best for the city when it comes to the budget. When I recognize the staff, especially the finance department, is because they spend, that's their job, and to make their recommendations to us. And of course, we have to go over the numbers. But to come up here and just spend time in creating a show or creating a sense of chaos that didn't work last year, by the way. That's why three of us are here now. And it's not gonna work again. So my advice to two of my colleagues is work on behalf of the residents. If you vote no to this budget, you're voting no to more programming for our special needs, for our senior citizens. You're voting no for more police officers out there. You're voting no for the future, the financial future of the city of Doral. So, and by the way, it is shameful that we keep hearing or referring to a police officer as a driver. Come on. We keep hearing that. You guys should apologize to the police officers because you don't realize that when you mention that about one officer, you're mentioning that about all police officers. They're sitting right here. So instead of spending time on having a productive conversation about things that make sense to the people that are watching, people that are sitting here, unfortunately, one more time, like last year, you spend time looking to create a chaos. And guess what? It's not going to work again because we're moving forward. It's the best budget that I have ever seen in the city of Doral. So once again, I want to congratulate the finance department, the administration. And by the way, I do use the staff that was mentioned. I use Artis, I use Martha, and I'm not violating any sunshine law. They serve the residents because at the end of the day, it's about serving the residents. It's about offering more services to you. Not to me, not to us, it's to you. At the end of the day, is about you. And this is what this budget does. In every single line, every single program, you will see it. You're going to enjoy that. Every time that you go to a park, every time that you see a police officer out there, it's thanks to the budget. It's thanks to what they do. So I place a motion to table
Thank you, Councilman.
and hopefully move forward.
Motion to table, there's a second by Councilwoman Reynoso. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion to table ordinance number 2025-36 on first reading made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabral?
To table, yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
Yes.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. We're going to take up the millage rate now. For the last time today. Madam Clerk, please read item 6A.
Item 6A, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, establishing and adopting a tentative millage rate and levy of ad valorem taxes for fiscal year 25-26 in the amount of 1.7166 mils, which is 8.13% greater than the rollback rate, to balance the general fund for fiscal year 25-26. Establishing the rollback rate to be 1.5875 mils, establishing and adopting a debt service millage rate for fiscal year 25-26 in the amount of 0.4810 mils for the general obligation bonds, parks and recreation projects, series 2019 and 2021, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Reynoso, second by Councilman Pinedo.
I have comments.
Yeah, hold on. I need to open up public comments because there was a motion for. Public comments is now open for item 25-6323 for the final opportunity.
Mayor, you need a motion to take it from the table first.
Motion to take it from the table.
Oh, sorry. Motion to take from the table.
Second.
Motion seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion to take the item from the table made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabral?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
Yes.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so the former motion now stands, and I'm going to open up for public comments. Public comments is now open. Anyone would like to speak on this item and this item alone, please approach the podium. This is about the millage rate. Okay, being none, item is now closed, and now we will have a quick discussion on the millage rate.
May I?
Anyone would like to speak? Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to reiterate, and I'm going to do this quickly because I do want to play another video for you. I am proposing to lower the millage rate to the rollback rate again, as I did during our millage rate discussion. This is something that's going to bring us the same amount of revenue to the city as last year. I think as a city, we have to learn how to operate within our means. We should not be taking extra money from the taxpayers just so that we can add additional staff and inflate certain departments that are not essential. Again, we're going to probably have to reduce our budget even more than just 2.6 million if this constitutional amendment passes next year. And I'm glad that I'm hearing support for this constitutional amendment that could bring real property relief from the state. I am proposing an item next week. I hope that my colleagues support it, and that is to support the state's efforts to put on the ballot next year a constitutional amendment that would either eliminate all property homestead taxes or reduce those homestead property taxes or increase the homestead. And so I hope that that happens. And with that, I'm going to play again. This isn't from the CFO, but this is from the governor talking about a little bit about that. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, again, we have to start conditioning ourselves as a city to start reducing our budget and eliminating waste that we don't need, because we will eventually, if this amendment passes, which I think it will, a similar measure passed last year with over 60% of the vote to increase homestead in the entire state. So I think it has really good chances, if it does get on the ballot, to pass. So here's some information on it. And again, we do not have to reduce or cut any of the essential services.
Is it under 3 minutes?
Is a proposal to go on the ballot in 2026 where Floridians will be able to vote something that will do the property tax, but you have to do it through the Constitution. But yes, if you look at what's happened, there's been a major boom in Florida real estate. And honestly, home prices have gone up everywhere. They've gone up probably more here because we've had more demand, more population. And so what happens is someone that bought a house for $300,000 10 years ago is now being told their house is worth $750,000. Well, that's an unrealized gain. You haven't sold your house for that much, but somehow your property tax bill is going up. Look at the budgets of these local governments. And the CFO, Blaise Ngoli, has done a really good job of going on site. They're doing a lot of stuff. And honestly, not everyone's been cooperative, and we'll have more to say on that shortly. Their budget's gone up like 60%. And so you ask yourself, well, what is that? And why is it going up? Because people buy homes, it's a gusher of revenue that's going into the coffers. And so rather than returning that money to the taxpayers, they've basically been spending it. So what I think taxpayers want is, okay, local government, we want education, 100%. We want law enforcement and fire and other first responders, some of the water infrastructure, 100%. But we don't need some of the stuff that's been spent money on. And that's the purpose of these audits and these overviews, to be able to show taxpayers, that yes, it can be done. My position, and we're working on the concrete proposal, is twofold. One, if you're a Florida resident and you have a primary residence here, your homesteaded property, I think you should be able to own that free and clear of the government. I don't think that the government should be able to just tax you infinitum. And yes, it hurts senior citizens who are on fixed income, but it also hurts young families to try to get ahead by constantly getting hit up. And we're in a unique situation where that's a minority of the property tax revenue that goes to local governments. Probably about a third is homestead. The rest is either non-homestead or commercial. And so if you just return budgets to where they were 4 or 5 years ago, I think that would probably be enough as it is.
Okay, so with that, again, this is something that is very likely going to happen. We need to start planning as a city for this. And that's why I'm going to make a motion to lower
There's already a motion on the table.
The item was not
Yes.
was not brought back from the table when that motion was made.
Yes, the motion was made, and it is on the
Okay.
record.
Did they make it before?
They did make a motion to bring it
was brought
back.
back to the table?
Yes.
Are you sure? Can we go back and check, please? I think you made the motion before this
The motion
item
was
was brought back.
recognized.
Well, it was the item was not on the table. So you can't make a motion on an item that's not on the table. So you have not made a motion.
All we did was clarify the record. The item was on the table.
The item was not on the table. It had not been called to the table. Please follow the rules of procedure.
We are following the rules of procedure, and the item has been recognized, and Councilman Pinero has a motion on the table. If the motion fails, you're welcome to make your motion. We're going to move on to the next one. Your time is up. Okay, so
Okay,
I
well
want
then
to
I
address.
make an amendment to the motion to reduce it to the rollback rate.
You're not recognized at this time.
You're not
Anybody-
following the rules of procedures.
I am actually. You're not recognized at this time. Your time has expired. You made your comments. There is a motion on the table, and I will go ahead and recognize anyone else who would like to speak at this time. If not, I do have comments. Okay, so I do have some comments on the things that were said right now. I do want to clarify. I have been following the issue at the state tremendously, and I agree, and I do support full reform of our tax structure at the state, because it's very easy for the state to say that homestead properties or that property taxes in general, I do believe there should be full reform on homestead properties. And actually, I'm not against eliminating homestead exempted taxes, homestead exemption taxes. However, it's easy for the state to make those comments when they're not the ones here balancing our budgets and providing services directly to our residents. We don't get any money from the state outside of grants that we apply for. No money from the state. Zero. Our budget is fully funded on what the revenues are created by our city, meaning property taxes, which is 36%, and the rest is other dues and fees and licenses and utilities. That is how we are funded. Franchise fees, that's how we are funded. So it's very easy for those comments to be said, and I've been a part of a lot of the conversations, not only with the CFO's office, but with the legislative subcommittee that was created on property tax reform, which is chaired by Vicky Lopez, and we've had tons of conversations on it, that if they do this, they do need to provide a full tax reform so we keep some sales tax. And so that needs to be part of the discussion. Otherwise, they are defunding local police departments, fire departments, because they cannot divert the conversation from the truth. Insurance has gone up and they've done nothing about it. And guess what? The city has been a victim of that as well. So we cannot, it's very easy to just point the finger somewhere else, but they need to attack the real problems. The rising cost of living in South Florida is not just because of properties, and I'm all for that reform, and we should be advocating for it. But we have to have a full holistic conversation about it. Also, our city budget has increased at the rate of our city's growth. And the prime example of that is that we have consistently lowered our millage rate. Every 5 years or so, we lower our millage rate because our city has consistently grown. So while our budget has reflected that growth, our millage rate has gone down. Every year we have returned that money to the residents. I've been here for 12 years doing it responsibly. But again, we're entitled to our own opinions, not our own facts. So I challenge those who are new to learn the process, to really study how these impacts will impact the services and our residents. My commitment continues to be the same. We will be fiscally responsible. We will find ways. We will cut it when we can. We will continue to be a lean city. I challenge you to look any city up of our size and our makeup and tell me who has a budget like we do. There's few and far between. We are an anomaly. We are. It's why we're the best place to live, work, learn, and play. But we need to do the right thing. And sitting here and saying the popular thing is not the right thing for our residents because it will impact our services. We won't be able to fund the programs that make us the best place to live, work, learn, and play. So again, I challenge any of you at the take a next bite at the apple, which is the second reading, bring a list, real numbers. Tell us where to cut because I didn't hear that today. So anybody else would like to speak? We have a motion on the table.
Yes, I just want to amend to reduce the millage rate to the rollback rate to 1.5875.
I don't believe the maker of the motion is amenable to that. Councilman, is there no amendments? I think we're going to move forward with the item as it is. Okay. Anybody else would like to speak? Is there anything from the administration?
No, Mayor.
Okay. All right. If there's no other comments or questions, Madam Clerk, please call the question. Yes, there was a motion by Councilman Pinero, a second by Councilwoman Reynoso. I had to recognize both of them.
I have motion to approve the proposed millage rate and the debt service millage rate for fiscal year 25-26, made by Councilman Pinero, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabral.
No.
Vice Mayor Porras.
No.
Mayor Fraga.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. We're going to take up the budget item for the final time tonight. I need a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, please read it into the record. And then I need a motion from the table.
Ordinance number 2025-36, adopting the budget for fiscal year 25-26. An ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, finalizing and adopting the budgets for the general fund, the transportation fund, the people's transportation plan fund, the park impact fee fund, the police impact fee fund, the development services technology fee fund, the building fund, the public arts program fund, the debt service fund, the capital improvements fund, the capital asset reserve fund, the vehicle replacement fund, the parks general obligation bond series 2021 capital project fund, the stormwater fund, the other post-employment benefits fund, establishing the capital improvements project division, and retitling the Office of Charter Enforcement to the Office of Inspector General of the City of Doral for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, and ending September 30, 2026, as reviewed, modified, and approved by the City Council at the meetings held on September 3rd, 2025, and September 17, 2025, authorizing the expenditure of funds appropriated in the budget, authorizing the levy and collection of taxes on real and personal property, and other revenues necessary to meet the expenditures provided in the budget, specifying the methods by which grants and gifts are addressed in the budget, providing for transmittal by the city clerk, implementation, incorporation of recitals, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
All right, that's a mouthful. All right, I'm
Motion
gonna
to
go
take
ahead.
from the table.
Yes, motion take from the table.
Second.
Second. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm gonna go ahead and open up public comments. Public comments is now open on item 25-6324. Anyone who would like to speak on this item, which is the budget, and this item alone, please approach the podium. Being none, budget is now, I'm sorry, the item, public comments for this item is now closed. And now we will hear any comments on the budget. We've already had extensive comments and we've discussed this ad nauseum, so I'll entertain a motion on the budget.
Motion.
Motion
Second.
to approve by Councilwoman Reynoso, second by Councilman Pinedo. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-36 on first reading made by Councilwoman Reynoso, seconded by Councilman Pinedo. Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabral?
No.
Vice Mayor Porras?
No.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn by Councilwoman Reynoso.
Second.
Second by Councilman Pinedo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we get another bite at the apple on September 30th. We'll see you then. Thank you.